JustMusic at the booth of Rossum Electro-Music. Next to me is Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hi.
Dave, what did you brought to us with you to the Superbooth today?
Well, we have all of our modules here, but I think what people are most interested in is the Assimil8or. The Assimil8or is now in production. We've shipped the first production run, and so I have actual production units here. The software is completed, although we'll be adding a little bit here and there as time goes on. And we're putting together some pretty good demos. The first thing I'd like to show you, as it says in the title on the Assimil8or, phase modulation is one of the very special things you can do with it. This hasn't been done, as far as I know, with samplers before, and it really produces interesting timbres. The demo I have here, this top one, if I can peer at the screen a little more closely, yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's modulating a trumpet with a piano. So you can hear the kind of wild sounds that phase modulation brings you out of two very natural instruments. Down below, this is a bassoon and a trumpet. Let's try some others down here. That's a sawtooth waveform being modulated there. And that's a self-modulation. That sort of noisy, raspy sound is characteristic of sounds that are phase modulating themselves, and they go a little chaotic. And you can vary the, I guess we've got the knob hooked up to the pitch in here. As you vary the modulation index, the degree to which those timbres vary bounces around and really gives you a really wide palette of sounds. We've done a lot of pretty neat things in the Assimil8or. Here's a demo that I really like. The title of the bank that we're loading is Cars, because it's the sound Cars, and I'll just pop the label here, and what we're demonstrating here. Load that demo right here. One of the features of the Assimil8or, the Data 2 knob here, which is used when you're programming it to enter parameters. When it's not being used for that, you can use it as a voltage source. So I can use it just like you would use any other control voltage. You actually assign it to one of the control voltage jacks, one of the 24 jacks. So in this case, we're using a feature called zones in the Assimil8or. Behind each one of the 8 channels, you have up to 8 zones. So you can have 8 different samples, and then you can dynamically switch between those samples. The original idea was for things like drum kits, so that you could use a control voltage and determine which drum was playing, or if you had different velocity hits. But you also can just switch between samples, and if they're synchronous, as we'll hear here, it really does some interesting things. So let's just start. Now when I turn the knob, we're going to switch zones. So you can really do some wonderful rhythmic things with the different tracks, and it's just a matter of lining up your zones there. Let's see, what else have we got for demos over here? I've got a whole palette of them here. This is really fun in here. The scrubbing and shuttling sounds. So here what I've got is a voice track.
Do what I do. You do what I do. Gunfights can't.
And the other thing we can do, instead of just shuttling, we can do scrubbings. We actually here can take another sound. And scrub it really, really slowly, backward and forward. So all of those are just using the standard modulations we've got. The scrubbing is using, it's actually a little tiny loop, and we're moving that loop around in the sound. Now the loop is so tiny that it's just a part of the waveform. You don't really hear the fact that it's looping, but you can, since you can dynamically modulate that loop, you can move anywhere within the sound. The scrub wheel is using linear FM, but you can go backwards through 0, so then you're changing the velocity as you're moving with the sound. So those are just a few of the things we can do with the simulator. We've also got, let's take one more demo over here. This was a new feature that we added. I don't think we had this at NAMM, but I think I can do it with this button over here. We have, if we look at the channel mode here, these channels are in what's called a cycle mode. So I've got one trigger coming off of my control forge over here, and as we play the different channels,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
sorry, I know what's going on. Let's just reload that guy again. No, I'm not getting there. I got lost somewhere in my patch. These things happen. At any rate, the idea is, as we saw at the very beginning, is one trigger can then cycle through several of the voices. And that's all quite programmable, so you can use a few voices, a number of voices, and you combine that with the other modes, such as link mode, where one trigger triggers several channels simultaneously, and then stereo sampling, where you're triggering a left and a right sample together. So those are some of the features we've got in the simulator. The manual is many, many pages, so we can't...
We can talk about for hours, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. People are raving about the sound quality and just getting a lot of really nice sounds. The demos you can see that are now appearing out there are really pretty impressive.
Okay, is there any release date already?
Yeah, it is shipping now. We're actually have completely sold out the first production run, but there's another run coming out of production the end of this month, and so they should be pretty available probably the mid to the end of May.
Okay, cool. Dave, anything else you want to show us?
I really am not set up. The one thing that you can see that we've sort of planned out here is that Assimil8or is a stereo output and Morpheus is a stereo filter. So I'm just beginning to explore the possibilities there, but it's really pretty amazing what between the two modules you can get out in terms of the just incredible variety of sounds, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Dave, I say thank you for showing us the Assimil8or and the Morpheus. I wish you all the best for the booth.
Well, thank you very much for dropping by.
Yeah. See you next year.
You bet.
This is Rossum Electro-Music and JustMusic at Superbooth 2018.